Hello and welcome to the Magenta Show. I think we're a few minutes late today. We've got the gods of technology doing their usual rumblings up there. So welcome. And again, just what an honor to have you, our regular viewers, always tuning in and supporting us. I was just telling our wonderful guest here today, Lynn Milne, who's a follower of the show, finally on set. Welcome, Lynn.
It's nice to be here.
And her beautiful business partner, Sarah Palumbo, is here. Thank you so much for being here, girls. And together you are called Harmonious Gypsys.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. So if you have a gypsy inside of you longing to break free and feeling it just wants to soar and be free and do whatever it wants, you've got to listen to what these two fabulous gypsies have to say on the show today. And I think it's important for you to be watching today, because really what we're also going to talk about is that difficulty we have when we are seeking that freedom, that spiritual freedom, but we still have to make money and survive and be in business and kind of put our business hats on, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. So you guys want to stay tuned, right? Also, for our viewers today, remember you have got a color pick of the week. Are you drawn to number 1, number 2, or number 3 this week? And whichever one you're drawn to, at the end of the show, we're going to reveal the pick. And I'm telling you, this week it's also pretty good what's come up. I was because our guest picked the bottle, so we're going to be very interested to discover what's happening later on. Okay, so what I want to know from the two of you is, why Harmonious Gypsys? Because you know, when you think of gypsies, you think of like crystal ball and cross my palm with silver.
Yes, definitely.
Tell us about that.
Very
I'm going to give it to Sarah because it started with Sarah's dream.
Definitely bringing yourself back into harmony, and gypsy doing everything that you love, a combination of so many different things. And it is typical that there's this stigma around gypsies meaning something specific, and at the end of the day you can be whoever you want to be, and that's all that really matters, really.
Okay. And how did you meet Sarah? I mean, what was your involvement? And
We met in a women's group, and I was on a journey from a very dark place, and I met Sarah and thought, she's a little bit airy-fairy, but she had
a bit gypsy-like.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the child in me really was drawn to that, and it took about a year or so before we actually connected, and I was very new to the whole spiritual, to the whole, bringing incense into your life, bringing gemstones into your life. And Sarah has been an incredible mentor, and we just seem to pair off each other. We love nature. Nature is our nurturer. So that harmonious gypsy feeling too, of being in nature and being free, and just the whole feeling that you can get from that.
The saying we got is nature nurtures nurture nature, and it's in your nature to be free. Right?
so let me get this now. So you were very new to this way of life, this whole spiritual weird life, and Sarah had the tools and the knowledge to kind of hold that space for you. Is this what Harmonious Gypsys is about? About the next wave, waking up, and that, because that's what I'm kind of getting from you guys.
And finding
that's
a
what
community that, holds your space, and sort of can give you the way to get there. And not be like, that's just too much for me to handle right now.
Yeah.
And in your own way. These are all different tools, but how you use them and how they speak to you, there's no right or wrong. But if you need that guidance, it's there.
It's there.
I have a question.
The two of you are there to support. Yeah. So, Sarah, have you always been involved in spiritual businesses? What is that kind of your mojo?
Yes. Well, my background is artistic makeup and aesthetics, so it was always about wanting people to feel good. And I started externally. Meanwhile, I wasn't really feeling good about me internally. And I remember working on clients, and no matter what you did on the outside, it didn't really matter. They would still critique or judge or see this vision of themselves. And I'm like, what are you seeing? Like, that's not what I'm seeing. You look amazing. But we all, women especially, I find that's common and typical. So I ended up going on my journey, and I ended up getting guided to an integrated clinic where we focus on the mind, body, and soul. And it really helped me understand like why I think the way I think, why I do the way I do, and allowed me this space. It held that space for me to really step into who I am and how I want to be. And then I started learning all the therapies that help me. So anything from energy medicine, NLP, and coaching. But my first tool was always oracle cards. I found my mind was constantly going and thinking negatively or questioning. So I started pulling oracles on a regular basis, and they've just kind of been my everyday platform.
And that is actually one of the tools that helps people realize there's something more to life or their problems, more than any other tool, I think, because they're so tangible. You touch them and immediately there's an answer for you. And as long as you trust or have faith in the process that they are giving you guidance, you know, you've got something to hang on to. I find with oracle cards, when I first started playing with them, was they gave me hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that I wasn't nuts. That, you know, there is some weird stuff out there that I couldn't explain, but I had a sense of them.
And yet they can be overwhelming. But when you turn them over, you don't need someone else to explain them to you, because you've turned over the card that you need. And when I first started doing them, I was like, oh, these are fun, whatever. And when I started doing them with Sarah, it was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need to deal with, whether I want to or not.
Yeah.
And for guidance, it's not, I mean, I'm very spiritual, but I also believe in God. So I don't find them that they're, you know, mismatched. It's not like, oh, you have to listen to the spirits. I think it all is combined.
It's all the holistic.
Harmony.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think for our viewers out there, I'd like to ask you the question. I want you to pop it in the comments box. What was it that first made sense to you when you spiritually blossomed or opened up? Was it tarot cards? Was it oracle cards? Was it maybe a bit of Reiki? I don't know, whatever it was for you, or maybe even crystals that kind of you thought, oh, this is weird and wacky, but over time you've made friends with it, and maybe they are a tool of a resource of support for you. We'd love to hear from you what your awakening tool was. It's clear it was cards with you girls. And crystals, they're important as well.
Oh yes. It's funny because ever since I was a kid, and that's what this whole spiritual awakening really, in my experience, has taught me, is it's always been there. Right? When I was a kid, I used to gather rocks all the time. I was drawn to all of these stones and sticks and all kinds of stuff. My parents were like, stop bringing home all these stones. But they always spoke to me, and I didn't know why. And then later on, I just started getting into crystals, and I was like, wow, whatever I'm attracted to, and I always ask myself, why am I attracted to that specifically? Out of all these things, out of all of these oils, why am I specifically attracted to this one?
Yeah, what's the energy it's bringing?
And then I would research. I was always curious.
So you had that deep analytical, because I think with people that are serious spiritual coaches and teachers, you have that innate need in you to analyze everything, to look at it from all different angles. And you definitely, you two both definitely have that energy, and that's really brilliant. All right, so let's just let our viewers know how to get hold of you, because if you've gathered all these products and you're making products, I believe you're also sourcing from local people.
Yes.
From our own gardens and from local people. Yes.
Yeah.
If you want to get hold of a few weird and wacky products, spiritual products that are
so weird.
beautifully, and I must say, I have seen the packaging and the labeling that are beautifully presented, professionally, business-like presented. You want to get hold of Sarah and Lynn, and your email, if you could let them have your email to contact you.
Yeah, so it's the Harmonious Gypsys with a YS at gmail.com, or follow us on Instagram. The Harmonious Gypsys.
And you're soon going to have a website,
Yes.
a Facebook page. You can sell on Facebook pages now. It's brilliant.
Yes.
So really, just get those up and running, because I think what you're offering people is really brilliant. You know, I've been in this business for a long time. So if somebody comes up to me and says, "So what do crystals do?" I'm like, "Oh, I have to go back to Crystal 101." You know, it's like, I'd love to know that there's somebody I can send to say, "Go and meet these two fabulous women and go and pick a crystal crystal and they'll talk to you for hours and help you. So
Mm-hmm.
that is amazing, because I think there's so many people waking up on the planet.
And that's
Have you
exactly it.
noticed?
That's exactly where I
Have
started.
you noticed?
Yeah. And you're, as soon as you start, you're drawn to that community, and it just arrives.
Yeah. The doors open.
That's how
people
we
turn
arrived
up.
to you,
Yeah.
right? It's amazing.
So I know that you're very new in your business and your partnership. This is all brand new. Literally, you're coming out the closet with your business today in partnership. Well done.
Yes, we are.
Give them an applause, darlings. Wish them well. Brand new spiritual entrepreneurs. I mean, well, congratulations. I think it's amazing.
Thank you. Yes.
Now, you just entering this arena where you're wanting to take what feels good to you and what you love doing, but you also have to make money. This has to be a business. You've got to do this properly. What are the stumbling blocks that you have? What are the areas of concern you have? Because I know that there's a lot of spiritual business entrepreneurs out there who are facing that same situation. What are you doing what are you doing to work around it?
Well, that's sort of where we're at right now. We know what we want to do. We know who we want to do it for, but we need to find where to do it, how to do it, and then that's sort of the next step, and how to make it congruent with our lives.
And how's the partnership working out? I mean, have you figured out who's got the strengths in certain areas and
Yes.
that harmonious balance?
Yes. Sarah floats away sometimes, and we
Yes.
get carried away over there, and then I sort of say, okay, wait, we have to get
Run
back
it
here
down.
and do some actual work, because we could talk for hours.
Yes. Yeah, the creativity just kind of gets ahead of me sometimes, but I really think connection is key. And that's where we're at right now, is getting out and really connecting with people. I've never really been, as maybe you can tell, this is me and who I am and what I do. I love meeting people, finding out about them, and it magically reveals. And I love that, because that's authentic. I think it's genuine, it's real. And one of the things, like you said, is there's a lot of this out there. And one of the things I've noticed, even with energy, is people have been, oh, I've gone for that, and I've had this type of experience, so you do this, right? And we can take one experience and make it the
Make
whole
it labeled,
experience and label
just like
it,
the gypsy
right?
label.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have to ask this of the two gypsies in the studio today. What does your family think about this weird stuff you're doing?
My family is very new to it. They don't really know a lot about it. They're like, oh yeah, you're going off with Sarah again. What are you guys doing, your little foo-foo stuff? But they're not, I mean, they I suppose they're supportive in their own way, because they're not, what are you doing? It's, they think I'm just going off to La La Land, which I am.
And you're comfortable going off to
Absolutely,
La La Land.
absolutely.
Yeah. Give yourself, and again, it's that gypsy freedom. Give yourself permission to explore and be who you need to be. And and honestly, I found when that happens, our families just love us anyway. And my family often watches the show. I mean, from me feeling like a Fruit Loop when I started this years ago, to the family now watching and supporting and commenting and being proud of what I've done, because at the end of it, Lynn, all it is it's opening your heart to help other people. That's all it is, and it doesn't matter how you do it. It's the intention and the action of saying, I want to help. I'm helping myself, but I'm helping other people at the same time.
That's really big.
Yeah.
Sarah, I have to just say before she tells her experience, whether you go into her treatment room at the center, which is somewhat a sterile environment, or her house, Sarah lives it. She lives the magic. Her room is like a time warp. Her house is a time warp. She has her own magic room, and it really is. You go in and you just, I want to live like this.
Yeah, so my family is, I mean, this is normal, right? My husband's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Oh,
Shout out to hubby. That's cool.
another rock, or another deck of cards. Okay, but it's just how we've always been, and even when I'm at the center, it's like, that's Sarah. And my family too. My dad's like, I found something, and can you use this at one of your shows? Or I thought maybe you'd like it. And yeah, just great. It's been great. So now it's just taking it to the next level.
So I'm dying to ask a question here. Has color ever entered into your studies, into the work you do, into the energy you hold? How are you connecting with colors? Because you're on a color show, right?
Yes.
Tell me a bit about your personal experience with colors, and does it mean something to you? Are you,
So I am probably an earth, because when I go in the forest, I see probably 1,000 colors of green, which is magical. And the sky and clouds, just
the blues and greens, they're important to you. Sarah?
I mean, definitely in energy treatments. I used to see colors. I still see colors around people. Love it. Everything down to my clothing. I love color, and it's interesting. I used to just wear black, different variations of black and gray. But color plays a huge role. Even my cups that I choose, if I want more vitality, I'll like drink out of a yellow cup. It's a big part of my life. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice to know. So I would love for you to pick some color bottles, and let's have a color conversation, all right? So, just let me know, what is it that you would like to know about or have clarity on, and we can take the conversation in that direction. So,
my question is, all these pieces of the puzzles are there. I want them to just merge in the best form possible. So what the next step would be to make that happen.
Okay.
Very similar. We're here for a reason. We've come together for a reason. We're doing what we love for a reason. What is the next step? Where do we go from here? So that we can share it with other people, because that is, we're nurturers and we want to help people.
All right, fabulous. So what I want you to do is, I'd like you both to turn around, and I want you to pick, again, each pick me 2 bottles. I'd like you to pick one that just says who you are. I am this. This is like the I am this bottle. And then I want you to pick a bottle that says, this is the direction I'd like to go into.
Okay.
All right. And your soul becomes part of this choice. So don't worry about choosing the wrong thing. It doesn't happen. Your soul is involved in this choice. So just let your intuition go to the bottle that you feel. So the first one that says, this is who I am, and the second one, the direction I want to go into. And I'd like you each to pick that and put it on the table. Okay? All right. And while you do that, I'm just going to have a chat with the audience. So audience, this is typical in a new starter business, because what we have with Sarah and Lynn here is the two of them have just started their business, and they're looking for guidance on a way forward. Now, in a normal business environment, you have mentors, you have a business plan, you get cash flow projections, you get all of that happening. What is really lovely about opening up to the color frequencies is you can get a little insight in and almost fault time to have a little look into the future as to what potential sits there for them. Okay, so this is not to say this is exactly what's going to happen, but this is to say this is the direction that they would like to be going into. Okay, so first of all, with the first thing that I read is the separation you have here. Your bottles are here, and you can see the colors is very much what you're wearing, and these colors are very much what you're wearing, Sarah. So I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but if you have a look at that. So first of all, in a partnership, there is still something that needs to bring the two of you together here, because there's still a void here between the two of you. Does that make sense? So yes, you meet regularly, you have meetings, you meditate, you travel, you go into the forest, you kind of do a whole bunch of stuff together, but something needs to be a little bit more concrete. Okay, so I remember when we were upstairs pre-production, you were talking about when your logo came together, how excited you were. You both had ideas, and then suddenly somebody came in, a designer came in, and boof, there it was. Right, it's that kind of feeling. You want to keep recreating that. And this is what I'd like to do, is how do we bring that energy together? Because when you're on the same page and you're both focused on exactly the same outcome, that's when things will start rolling for you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, there's still something to bring the two of you together. Okay, so Lynn, which one was your I am bottle? 29. So bottle 29, and this is the one that is, it's the one that says my childhood was difficult. It's the one that says that growing up on this planet as a human being was certainly not a bed of roses, but this is what taught you to be a healer. So all those experiences happen because you're learning what it is like to be a healer and to be of service. And it comes from that needy, wounded child, victim almost kind of energy that said that, oh, the world's out to get me, nothing works for me, and fate's against me, and everyone's against me. And you kind of go through those thought processes, and then you empower yourself and you step forward. And people who have that experience tend to become the most powerful healers and leaders. So, but also what I like, the turquoise on top of the magenta, that's what bottle 29 is. The magenta underneath, of course, the magenta shows that you're a bridge. You can bring things together. So I really want you to know that you're a bridge energy, that you can bring things together. The turquoise on top says that you can heal emotional trauma for people. And so focus on you, the partnership where you heal and focus on people's emotional traumas and work with that healing. Does that make sense? That's a strength that you have. All right. People who've had wounded child experiences will be drawn to you, and you will help that process and that healing. Is that okay? Okay, so this is who you are. You're a very powerful emotional trauma healer. Then bottle 36 is, where do you want to be? Well, this is the gates of heaven. The 36 is the gates of heaven. You and symbolically what it means, it's like a blue, because we have a podcast going too, so I must describe the colors for our podcast viewers. It is blue lilac. And blue is communication, lilac is the heaven. So this is about using teaching and teaching programs to people, putting yourself, taking that energy you have as the you, and running workshops and actually helping to open the doors of heaven to people in their minds and in their hearts. So I would advise you to consider learning programs that will set you up to be a spiritual teacher. Okay, you need to be teaching, because when you're up front in front of a group, you're going to find that they're going to be mesmerized by what you have to say. So blue lilac brings your throat, your communication with your violet, your spirituality together, and all because you've had that life you've had, and that's what's going to turn you into a master teacher. And you know, you've got everything you need already. You've already experienced it. You know what you've been through, and you know how you can help others get through things in their life. And all you need is just a tool, a system, a manual to do it. Thank you. That's it. Okay, so in your partnership, that you need to acknowledge, Sarah, that this is Lynn's strength. This is what she's capable of doing, is taking up that kind of leadership role. Okay. I also like to play with numerology, and you know, in 3 + 6 is 9. 9 is bringing things to a completion, to end cycles for people, and to set them on their way for the next cycle. All right, and I know that you're really attracting all these newbies, these newly awakened spiritual beings into your practice, and getting their footing, getting them solid, and setting them on their way to the next level. Yeah, so I would say that the Harmonious Gypsys needs a gypsy boot camp, a training center of some. It will come, but it will come for you. Okay. Now let's have a look. Is that okay for you then? Before I move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not expected, but wow.
Okay. All right. Not expected, but wow, that's what colour does. Love it. All right, ma'am. Now, Sarah, you've got G36. So there is your link. 36 and G36. Have you got that? So there is your nod from the universe saying, okay, here you go. You are definitely meant to be partners and work together. Okay? So that gateway energy is, look at them. I don't know if that's a gypsy thing, but I have to do it. I just know when I share the show, I'm going to have to share that when we do the wee wee thing, give us lots of hearts. Okay, so the G stands for Gaia. So it's that earth connection, whereas this is very much the heavenly connection. And I love this heaven and earth thing coming together for the two of you. You feel very connected to the ground. When you're with her, and you ground her as well. And you're able, being very, very Gaia energy, you're also able to do the soaring to the heavens. So there's just this little cycle and circle that comes in for the two of you that I really, really love. Now, The G36 has got coral on top and deep magenta at the bottom, and it's the same magenta that's at the bottom of 29, all right? And the coral on top is about, in astronomy, this astrology, it links to Jupiter, the biggest planet of them all. So this is about expansion. This is about, you know, because this is who you are, right? This is your I am. Have I got it right? This is your I am bottle. This is who you are. So you know that you have this ability to think big, to do big, to be more. So you're this visionary that can just absolutely make things happen. But you have to be carried with divine love, which is what magenta is. It's that divine love energy. And I love that your vision connects with where she wants the business to go. That's your connection with Sarah. You see that visionary in her, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but honestly, you need this to make it happen. You do need someone like Lynn in your life to really make it happen, because you need to retreat every now and again. Put the covers over, go into the cave, the Gaia cave, and somebody out there has to still carry on and do what they needs to make the business work. And this is why God sent you, Lynn. Your vision for the business, I love, is G21. Again, there's a magenta there. There's a paler magenta at the bottom, and then you've got this platinum on top. Okay. Now for the camera, I'm just going to move your bottle because people can't see this clearly because the camera comes on this way. Okay, so my darlings, just bear with me here. I'm going to move. I don't like moving bottles, but I'm going to move it. Okay. There you go. Just so the camera can see it. Okay. So they can see clearly that there sits magenta and coral, and here we've got platinum sitting on magenta. G21 I love because this is like a key. A key to opening the gates of heaven. So she's wearing a bunch of keys, right? I mean, you're a gypsy. Of course you're going to have lots. You've got keys around then. I mean, look at them. They got keys. Hello. Okay. So this one is, it's called the Beloved. And that gateway that you open up, that key that you put into this gateway that the two of you want to open up, it's opening up the hearts of humanity. That's really what it is. And that's why you're wearing your keys around your heart area as well, I think, because it's literally, I will put a key in to open up your heart so that you can see who you really are without that mask of all the makeup that you used to do with people. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
What this one does is it says you are the beloved. God loves you. All the times that you've not loved yourself or you thought yourself not worthy, God has always loved you, and there's never been a judgment. And this is the key message you're going to be teaching and giving to your students and to your customers and your clients. Okay. So the other key I want to give here is the number 3. So 2 and 1 makes 3. So you've got 3 years to really get a good solid foundation and planning in place. You need a website. You need all the technology to support you. You need to think about where do you want to put your stock in and make sure that all the products that you are sourcing is properly labeled, marketed and promoted, that you actually start generating income from the products. The products leads you to people who are going to ask, how do I use this? Well, what is this about? Or which, asking you advice, consulting you almost on which products to use for a specific thing. Those people eventually are going to become your students. So it's going to be a process that's very automated, that as you open up a door for people to find products from you and to have discussions with you about, how do I do tarot card reading, and which tarot deck is best for me, which oracle card is best for me, which crystal is best for me. That is how you begin to bring people in and start doing some workshops with them as well. They will automatically come onto workshops. The products will lead the people to you. In most business, and for those of you who own business, you have to kind of go out there and meet people and then sell them your products. Right? And I think for you, it's going to be the other way around. It's the products that are going to bring the people to you. Does that make sense? Okay. But at the end of 3 years, you need to almost have a certification process on offer for your students. Actually give them a qualification in something that they can use and spread the knowledge. That's to create students of students. Students for more students. Okay. So you've got 3 years, in my view, here. And nothing is written in stone. Everything can change. The two of you can change your mind. It can all happen. But right now, the path, the trajectory that you're on, this is what you're set up for. How's this feeling?
Magic. I'm like magic. Yep.
I'll take it.
I'm
Okay, so I would like you to pick another bottle each, please, and put it on the table. Okay. And this time, I'm not saying what I'm asking your souls to give me. I'll tell you afterwards. Okay. Pick a bottle, and put it on the table that you are drawn to. Is that the one you want?
That was my first
That's
one.
fine. If you both got it. So you both wanted bottle 19, is that right?
Yeah.
This one here?
Yep.
Okay, so you reached for it.
You got it first.
And then there's G35, which is bringing the platinum. It's a deeper version of that. It's platinum sitting on top of the magenta, and it's a very anchoring energy. Okay, so you serve as the anchor in this business. This just amplifies that you're the anchor in the business. The fact that you're both drawn to 19 is next year's 2019.
Oh my gosh.
So next year you need to anchor all of this. And have you written a vision board? Have you made a plan? Have you got some ideas down on paper?
Yes.
You've got it down, all right?
Not everything, but yes.
Okay. Make sure that you get that done before the end of this year. All right. I want you to get together before Christmas. Make sure before New Year, and write down all the things that you want to action for next year, and then put them in a list of priority. What is priority number 1? What is number 2? And give yourselves a space of time to do it in, because there's this energy of magenta that comes in that's very strong with you here, and that is always to do with the factor of time. You know, we think that time that time is you know, it's just, you know, waste of time. You know, it's not important, but it is. Time is what God's given us to measure our existence in, so that we know we have a time frame and a pocket of opportunity and a bubble of time that we can operate and make things happen in. And you know, when you set yourself a goal and you go, oh, by the end of this month I'm going to do that, and that feeling of achievement you get, that is because you and time have just made love. It's okay. So you want to be doing lots of that next year. You kind of want to do that, all right? You're going to, the goal underneath says you're going to be very divinely guided by your inner wisdom. You know, it's not so, it's going to be surrounded by other wise teachers and people to guide you, but your inner wisdom is going to be your strongest guide next year in 2019. So please, this is your task. And I love now, can you see that it's come together here? The two are now, there's no big gaping gap here anymore. So this is about coming together, sitting down. What do we want to achieve? Put down a time frame. January, this is what we're going to do. February, this is what we're going to do. Actually come up with a plan and then stick to it. All right? Because it'll give you that sense of achievement, and you and time will have this wonderful romance on the go. Does that make sense?
Oh, it's wonderful, yeah.
Okay, and also finances need to be considered as well, because obviously when you know, you're coming together here, you've got to bring mutual resources together. Start off with the things that don't need a lot of resources. Like for example, I said to you, start a Facebook page, and you can put your shop on there. You know, you can sell products from there. So you kind of want to create things that you don't need a huge investment in, so that you start feeling your way through what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And you haven't invested too much money in things that don't work. Does that make sense? Prioritize the things that don't need too much investment, and then start going into the small to medium investment, and then the bigger ticket items towards the end of the year.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm just absorbing it all. Wow.
So what do you think of Lynn's reading, Sarah?
I think it's great. It's something that her response has been the same. I'm like, this is what you're meant to be doing. Like, you got so, all the time. And she's been like, oh, no. And
well, the whole of internet world out there now knows, so this is it, girl.
Oh my gosh.
Right. But you've been taking those steps too, like you getting your Reiki level 1 and working through your own stuff and researching. So yeah, she's got great wisdom to share.
Yeah, you got to go to where you actually teach Reiki. You know, the whole teaching process that's there. You need to be teaching and running workshops. So what do you think, Lynn, of Sarah's reading?
I think you're pretty accurate. Yeah, she's grounded within herself and very divine within herself, and she's also up in the clouds, which is a beautiful combination because she can reach into people and see who they really are. It's incredible. And I think that we do have something really special together.
Yeah, I believe so as well. I do believe that you will strengthen each other, because there's this whole here's the thing, and I really want my spiritual entrepreneurs and viewers and fans and friends out there to hear this. One of the things when you become spiritually open-minded and you seek spirituality is you think you have to do it all by yourself. Oh, it's bullshit. Throw it out. Please, just throw it out. Throw that idea out. Because we are, if you're serious about doing bridge work, about bringing the material and the spiritual world together, which is the Magenta way, they're finding that middle way. If you're serious about eliminating fear and activating more love on the planet, then you need help. Get a partner. Ask God to send you somebody that can support you, that can help you, that can anchor you, that can ground you, and then you are not alone anymore. I don't do a show like this without the help of people, without my tribe, without my staff, without my family supporting me. I couldn't do it. Can you imagine me sitting? You've seen the studio, and I can imagine me arranging all of this myself. I'd be exhausted and burnt out. I couldn't be serving if I didn't call in help and accept help in my life. Please, if that is all that we leave you with from today's show, I really want you to contemplate that. If you're out there as a spiritual entrepreneur and you're slogging away and you're feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, and what is the point of it all, whatever thoughts are going through your mind, I want you to seriously consider opening up to working in a partnership. All right, invite people to come and help you, and God will send them to you. I think this is a great partnership. The two of you will work very well together. Yeah, there's going to, and honestly, I can almost see 2 years ahead here where you're going to be so busy you can hardly have time to see each other. You're going to be like, oh, I better phone you and tell you what I'm getting up to, and you're going to, I better phone you and tell you what I'm getting up to. I can kind of see that happening. So this is something you can pursue, and it will be lovely.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Excited. Thank you.
So I want you now to each just pick one that is your most favorite bottle. 29 and 19. Very nice. 29 and 19. All right, so this is the part of the show we now give our readers, our viewers. I keep saying readers because it's viewers. I don't know what it is. I'm like writing books at the moment. I'm giving our viewers a glimpse of their color bottle for the week. All right, so let's just move these off here if you don't mind helping me there. And
We're taking all of them off?
yes, please. Right. Now, for those of you who've picked bottle number 1, you have picked. You picked first, Sarah. You were number 1, and Sarah picked bottle number 11. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So let's put it on this side here. Now, for those of you who picked number 1, alongside Sarah, bottle number 11, yin and yang. Do you see the yin and yang, the black and the white there?
Yes.
Okay. This is a week, Sarah, and for those of you who picked number 11, where you have got a final little look at the energies of what hasn't been completed in 2018. Because 2018, if you add 2 and 1 and 8, it comes to 11. So we've been at an 11 year. So this is saying, just think, is there something you feel, review, is there something you feel you haven't accomplished this year that you wished you'd done? It was on your to-do list way back in the year and you hadn't done it. I want you to think about bringing that to completion. There's only 2 things. Either make a commitment to finish it in a certain time frame, or say, I'm willing to let it go and open up to something else. Okay. Done something, but you need to give yourself permission to let it go, because otherwise we do something called guilt. Oh, I should have, I wish I had, or I'm a bad person, I never follow through, I don't have enough discipline, I'm lazy, whatever the excuses are. So this is a really, really crucial week to decide, okay, what didn't I do in 2018 and let it go, or refresh the energy around it and go, I'm going to make it happen right now. Does that make sense? Is something coming to mind already for you, Sarah?
Yep.
You and 10,000 other viewers.
Yes.
Right, so those of you who've picked number 2, you have picked, it's so funny. Lynn, 29 again.
Oh my goodness.
So when you arrived earlier on the show, you picked 29, and then of course when you were doing your reading, you picked 29 as well. And I mean, those are the colors you're wearing today too. So it's very prominent. This magenta and this turquoise energy is very prominent around you right now. All right. So for those of you who picked number 2, along with our guest Lynn here. Now, this because 2 and 9 makes 11. So there's the link here between 1 and 2 partnership.
11.
So there is a link between whoever picked. If you pick number 1 and those of you pick number 2, again, I want you to think about what hadn't you completed, or what do you feel you could have done better at, or where do you still beat yourself up, almost like a parent parenting yourself in a negative way, saying, oh, I should have done, and I'm a bad person, I never did get around to it. I want you to just stop that, because that is just the voice of your mother or father who always told you that you were no good, or a parent or a teacher that told you, hey, you can't accomplish anything, you better just get a job. So if you're a budding entrepreneur, if you're wanting to be free like gypsies, put keys in doors and open people's hearts, serve, make a difference in the world, really reevaluate that calling you have and stop worrying about what everybody else thinks about your choices. I hope that's useful for those of you who pick number 2. And I think recommit to yourself and your journey to open up the hearts of others. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Bang on.
Yeah. Don't worry what anybody else thinks. Just do it. Got it? Cool. And those of you who picked number 3, you've got my pick of the week. It was a difficult week. I didn't know what to pick. I was going from one bottle to the next, and then eventually there was just this outpouring of energy that made me pull this particular bottle. And it's number 24. Magenta on top this time, and pale green at the bottom. And literally, for those of you who have picked this one, let me just put those in the front there for you there so you can see them on the lighting box. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. For those of you who picked number 3, if you find yourself at the end, because we're really at the end of 2018, so I want to keep with that theme. If you're finding yourself at the end of 2018 and your finances are not where you want them to be, or you find you're panicking, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're panicking because you've got no workbook for the first few months of next year. You're a consultant, you're a coach, and there's no clients. Maybe you're running a training course and there's no students registered. Whatever's going on for you, you need to take a really, really, really deep breath, because time is a factor. This magenta time thing is coming up for us today, and all this magenta here, and there's magenta here. Time is a factor. It just means that right now there's something bigger being planned for you. Take a deep breath if money is not feeling very magical at the moment, and just hand your fears over to God, because timing is a factor. All right. And I would imagine that in towards the middle of next year, you're going to see that things are just going to turn. June, July, things will just start turning around for you. Okay. So, the olive green at the bottom is so fresh, isn't it? So that springy olive green, yeah. So towards spring, you'll start seeing things changing. In June and July, things will really start opening up for you. So for those of you who've got financial issues, just hang in there. It's just a few more months and everything's going to start clearing. It's like the fog lifting, the winter fog lifting. Okay, so those who've picked number 3 with me. Okie dokie. How was this, girls?
Fabulous.
Very enlightening.
You're out of the closet as gypsies.
We are. That's it. We're here.
Yay. Yeah,
that was
it's
wonderful.
exciting.
It's
Yeah,
so
thank you.
informative, and you hit on a few things that.
Okay, just I'd like you to go work on it and let us know. And you're coming to the Christmas party? Are you able to
I'd
come?
love to. I have a Christmas party that night as well. But
Okay, we'll pop
magic
in.
happens.
We're the after party, the before party, the middle party.
Right?
Magic can happen.
Yeah,
yes.
I guess are coming. The Magenta guests are
Wonderful.
coming on the show to meet the Calamaris family and team. So that'd be fantastic. So thank you very much for being on the show, Lynn and Sarah, and thank you, Michael, for producing us. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the show, you have to share. If you don't share, nobody knows what's happened here, and I don't need to turn up anymore. I turn up because you keep sharing and the audience keeps growing and you interact. So thank you, angels. I love you, and I will see you for the very last Magenta show of the year next Monday with our guest Joe. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.